Okay, so I was just talking about saving in the previous tutorial. You should save very frequently. Maya has a habit of crashing, especially when you're new, because you don't, unbeknownst to you, you probably try to make it do things that it's not good at, and it will just die, and you may lose a lot of work. So Control S again will save it under the same file name. Okay, now let's make this shell look nice. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to delete half of it. So I'm going to go to my front view, and I'm going to delete the half that it didn't work on, or I stopped working on. So I went to the front view and I just drag selected in face mode, selected those faces, and I pressed delete. Okay. Now let's go to edge mode. We'll select these edges. Here, and we can extrude edges as well as faces. So I'll hold down shift, right click, extrude edge, and I'm going to bring this forward a little bit with my translate tool. That previous tool that always transitions to, just so you guys know, is called the universal manipulator. I don't like it. I feel like it's too powerful and it's kind of hard to predict. So I always switch back to one of the regular tools with the W, E, and R keys. Okay, so I've extruded. I'm going to scale it in just a tiny bit. Push it towards the middle. I'm going to extrude it again. Now when you're adding these details in, and especially in a hard surface model, you'll notice that these are not squarish at all. They're very rectangular. That's okay when you're adding details. When you're working on the overall shape, you want to maintain squares as best you can. And you just kind of have to get a feel for what that really means. But I'm switching back to my scale tool. This time I'm going to move it back in. And what I'm really trying to do is just create some sort of a lip around the border of this shell. Okay. Kind of looking at it, see if I like how it looks. Go to vertex mode and clean up some of this. Okay. Now, this is kind of a double-edged sword. Eventually when we render, we'll have a lot more geometry than this, and we'll get it really easy. And you can preview that by pressing 3 on your keyboard. And that will show you what your mesh looks like when it's been smoothed. And because when you render, you'll be smoothing it. Okay? And that by adding this edge in here, it's kind of hard to frame, it's going to make that look nicer. Okay? So I'll continue to work around, and we're going to extrude edges on that, and hopefully it'll make more sense. But whenever you're working, you want to work in the non-smooth mode, and that is to press 1 on your keyboard. Okay, so go to edge mode. Select the edges that I want to work with. Let's see, I might be able to grab all the sides at once. All the side edges at once. Then we'll shift, extrude edge, and I'm going to move it out, and scale it down. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and extrude it again. I know I have some bad geometry and I'll need to go back and edit it. Now this time I'm pushing towards the center. I'm going to scale it in again. And now I need to go through and edit all this geometry that I've added. So in vertex mode, you need to try to start making sense of this. Now you'll find a lot of times when you're modeling that it's kind of a visual puzzle. Well, not even kind of. It's sometimes it could be very difficult visual puzzles. And the only way to really know what you're doing is to go through and start moving stuff. And see if it did what you thought it should do. So I'm just going to go through and I'll rearrange this border. A lot of times you'll get so close to your model that it's hard to tell what you're working on anymore. If you ever find yourself doing that, don't hesitate to reorient yourself by pressing A on your keyboard, and it will frame everything in your scene. If you want to get back to what you have selected, all you have to do is press F on your keyboard and you'll get back to that selection. Okay, so I'm going to go through and continue to clean up this edge here. Now, to be honest, most of you guys will probably not be this picky. Okay, so I've got this piece. Okay, so it's starting to come together. I admit this is the tedious part. There's a misconception a lot of times when it comes to creating 3D models that it should go faster than, say, if you were experienced at traditional modeling, like sculpting in clay. It's just not any faster, just so you know. And in fact, for an experienced clay sculptor, this is probably quite a bit slower.